Hello, my name is Marcus and welcome to Tabletop Reviews, where today I'm having a look at, can I just flip it over here, Parks 2nd Edition. This was supposed to be out a week ago, but my work just took over, so it's coming now. Yay! And a review and a comparison later on. But yeah, let's get the 2nd edition to the table, see what's set up and played. Alright, let's get the lid off. Here we have an insert that shows how it all gets in. And a pamphlet about their other games, and of course the rule book. A beautiful illustration on the front, and also a very beautiful illustration on the back of the main board. You see these, very beautiful. But it is of course the front of the main board that we are interested. Okay, it takes up a lot of space. Just back this one up a little bit. And it's this one that we're interested in. So first of all, you have two lovely trays in white instead of brown this time, containing all of the resources and the pictures that you have. You also have these picture books, which count for 5 points, so they're basically 5 pictures rolled into one. It's a lovely addition, making it easier to keep a look over your components. Other than that, you know, trees, water, sun, mountain, and of course, wild token shaped as different animals. Pick your favorite. Okay, well, let's do the setup of the main board first. So for so you have this thing, which is a bonus for taking the most pictures. 3 to 5 side, the 2-player side. So whichever you choose, you can place it up there. The parks themselves here, shuffle them up really good. And then you place it here, flipping over the top 3 parks to these areas. Great. Then you have, if I can get them out here, the gear cards here. Again, shuffle them up. I just skip that part and place the top 3 here. All right. This we'll get to. Right, you also have these fall, summer, and spring tiles, where you will choose one each, and then you will put them in order over here: spring, summer, fall, and those will mark the seasons and also the turns. Then of course you have these tiny little ones. Those are sort of the areas here, so just place them out again. This will happen randomly. I'm just trying to speed run the process. Okay. And then you have those were difficult to get out. These are a bunch of the canteens for this game, so kind of place those over here, and then again flip over the top 3. Okay, this space over here looks like this, contains a die. That is this die. You can place it over there, but first you will roll it, and then whichever one it shows aligns with one of these spaces here, or at least most of them, and that's where you will put the little shutterbuck. And then you can place the die over here. And that's main board setup. Well, this one just be nearby. That's the main board setup. Let's take a player right here. So first of all, have this little backpack piece here. You have backpack with 12 spaces. That's what you have for resources, and 2 rows of 3, or 3 rows of 2, room for canteens. So you'll start off with 1 canteen. Place basically where you want, but start with the top left. That makes sense. Each player will of course have 2 hikers at the trail head over here. You will also get a random one of these passions distributed, which you can place just down here. Bam. And of course you will need a campfire. Okay, and for randomly, by the way, with the passion cards, they distribute 1 for your first game, but then after that pick out distribute 2 and then choose which one you want to keep. And of course the first player token will be to one who who was the last to visit a national park. That's just the first plateau. And that's sort of the basic setup. Now there is some areas on here for these and the tents. So you have these 3 areas here. There is a tent symbol, so you place a tent there. And you'll take 3 of these at random to place here. That is, but that is like in an advanced mode, so do think about that before going in. So, the gameplay is very much similar to regular first edition. You take one of your hikers and you move them as far as you want, along to the right on the trail, never going backwards. You have these spaces here that just grant you a resource. That's a mountain. You have 2 suns, 2 water, and wood or trees. You have this space in the middle, which is always at the same place, which grants you either you can visit a park or you can reserve a park. You have this tile, trade 1 resource to a wild resource. This one is trade 1 resource to a picture or grab a new canteen. When you grab a canteen, that can be one of the 3 face up or just one of the top face down one, depending on the options. You have the shoe here, which is purchasing a gear card. You can purchase either the 3 face up, or for 2 each sun you can just buy the top card from the deck and risk it all. You then also have this all new space, which has a die on it. When you roll there, you roll the die, and whatever it shows is what you get. So a wood, a mountain, 2 sun. Shows a little bit a few different things on there to do. When buying a park, you just simply pay the resources that are down here. Some of them have instant effects like this one. So when you play it, you also get that instant effect. But then that you of course just score the points. Reserving a park, you just grab the park, put it here. It's reserved. You can pay it for it, visit it whenever you want. And of course, whenever you remove something, the cards will be moved to the right, and a new one will be flipped over. And it's important this thing moving to the right. I'll get to why soon enough. If you land on the one with the shutterbuck, you take the shutter thing here. You now own that one, which means that once per turn, when you take a picture, you may take another picture. Now we usually have the house rule that when you have it, you can just take another picture every time. But I do believe the main rule is just you can only do it once per round. So you know, if you take a picture here and the picture here, you can only get 3 total if you have this one, right? Just as an example. But yeah, let's talk about this over here, because as your park guy slowly moves through, at some point gonna have to land here, and this is the end. So the top one is a park symbol, like this one over here, visit or reserve a park. Next one is 1 resource to take a picture, and the last one is a gear. If you are the first one that lands, then you will in order get the first player token, a wild token, a sun token. So sort of corresponding, right? If you choose the gear one, you get a sun token, aka you get a sun discount. So it's the same as in regular parks, but this one only counts for the first player, no matter player count. There's one thing I forgot in setup, the weather tokens. So the weather tokens goes sun, water, sun, water, sun, water, sun, water, every single time, every single round. It's just mainstreamed it like that. Once everybody has made their guys over here, except for 1 player, right? Let's say this was a 2-player game, that's what I've set it up for, and red player has both theirs in. Now, even though I have multiple spaces from here that I could go onto, I am now forced to get him to the end, do whatever I want over there. Once a round then ends, you do want to check up. Check if you did. Okay. You first of all take all these tokens here back, reshuffle them, distribute new ones. You take the one on the rightmost card of both the parks and the gear and replace it. You of course return your guys to the trailhead, and then you check. You empty canteens that you might have used, and then check the end of round goal. So the first one in this one would be whoever has the most water in the backpack gets a new canteen. And that would be the first round. After the second round, whoever has the most canteens gets to roll the dice twice. And then at the end, at fall, the last round, 3 rounds, then whoever has the most mountains on visited parks will get 3 points. So that, for example, now there's just to clarify, that means this one counts as 2 because there's 2 mountains on it. Some say parks with something on it, like this one says visit 3 parks with wood green on it, trees on it. So although this one has 2, it only counts 1 for this one, right? That's like an important one to explain away. Yeah. Yes, so that's what you do at the end of each of the 3 rounds. You check that condition. Now there's 2 things to talk about. So first of all, you have these campfires. If, for example, you can only be 1 person on each space, but let's say this guy is on water, and I really need to visit the water space after the sun space, whatever. I can extinguish my campfire, flipping it over, to land on the same space as him. I can do that once per turn. At the end of the turn, it flips over to ignite it again. The way that the passion cards here work is when you have achieved this one. In this one, it's 3 parks with trees on it. You get to flip it over, and you can choose this ongoing effect. The parks cost 1 less tree to visit, or 1 point per park with trees on it. So that's an endgame scoring on ongoing effect. You can kind of see the gear symbol right there. You get to choose whatever, and depending on the situation of the game, whatever. So that's those 2 things. Now we have these tents here all over. So how they work is when you jump onto a space with it, you first take the space's action as normal, and then you take the tent and you place it on this dude over here, where they have different actions for you to do. There's 4 different sides, and they have a alternate side each. So there's a lot of options for what you can. But you put the tent over here to take an action. Of those, when the game is over, all the tents from over here. Now, when the round is over, sorry, all the tents from over here are moved back to the spaces, and the top one of these ones is removed, revealing an all new one. Yeah. This one with buying gear, as I said, you can buy the top ones or the top of the deck. Yeah, so at the end of the game there is 1 bonus to be distributed, which is the bonus for the most pictures taken. In a 2-player game, whoever has the most gets 3 extra points. In a 3 to 5 player game, whoever has the most gets 4 points, and a second most gets 2 points. But that's basically everything that needs to be distributed. Other than that, you count up how many pictures you've taken. Each picture is 1 point. These ones are a point. Check out this thing, and of course, if you have this thing to count up the amount of total points that you will have at the end of the game. I think I just about covered everything. I just have to think for a second there. But yeah, let's get back up there and talk about it. And that is how it's set up and played. Let's quickly mention the setup, which it does use quite a few smaller bits. It has the smaller canteens, and the trail sites are also these smaller cardboard tokens. I have quite large fingers, and it's a little bit difficult for me to try and shove them up and place them over and not know what goes where. So that's a little bit annoying, the size of them. But that's really the only thing. I mean, I think there are a few small components. The shutterbuck and the dice are like just extra things that need to be placed around, but it's not like difficult. It is a little bit annoying with the size of those, but other than that, the setup is great. I love that it's just on 1 board, right? This is just a board, and of course each player gets their own little player board. But other than that, it is just this 1 board where you set up everything. They have its space, so once you know the setup, you just know it, because as soon as you find out, like, yeah, okay, this goes here, great. So that's fantastic. So setup is a breeze, to be honest, once you've learned it. Let's talk about the gameplay. And the gameplay is still reminiscent of parks, which I really love. The main part is, of course, moving your character from left to right and never going back. You can land on the same space as another player once, because it turns off your little fire. And these things work really great, because it always makes you think. It's always a good idea to maybe keep one behind, so you can move a little bit slower. But once everybody has reached the end, you just go to the end as well. You don't get more actions. Done and dusted. I think it works so really great. It's very simple, and the items you land on is very simple. You get a wood here, you get 2 sun here, you get 2 water here. Super simple things to look at and to take these actions. And then you reach the end, and everybody reaches the end, and the game round is over. which is great. Like some people can end their turn quite quickly. I do so that sometimes it can make sense. I did win, so and other people like to drag out the turn, get as much as possible in one turn. But it's a great kind of catch-up mechanism. This thing where sometimes you just can't. Like sometimes there's 3 people ahead of you. You have to jump over those spaces because I've already used my fire. And that forces you to get into goal earlier. So besides the people who maybe like me jump almost to the end immediately, I've done that sometimes. You sit and watch along a little bit, but that's my own choice. It isn't like one person to just drag out the turn and then, oh, everybody's in goal, now I'm just gonna go one by one by one. No, it's like, okay, people are closing in the end. I probably need to think about what are these important spaces I want to hit. Hopefully they will want to hit that as well, so I can get just that one extra space as well. Because you can't just, because sometimes it's just, I could take a picture and that would be fine, that's a point. But if I can get that wood over there, then I can do this, and so it works great in that way. Bringing people to the end and not making sure the turns don't take too long, right? And of course, talking about this fireline, there are tools which can make sure that you reignite your flames. So there's a few, you know, if you land on space, it also ignites your fire again. And talking about the tools, I think all of them are really good. They are situational. This is situational, right? Like there was one where if you land on this space, you also get this, but like that space isn't too good, and that isn't really working with what I'm trying to do. But they're all useful. I would say there isn't like one of them where you just think that's completely useless no matter what. They're all like, okay, I can see the usefulness of that. Doesn't make sense for me to spend a sun or 2 sun or even 3 sun tokens to get that one, spend one of my turns. Maybe, maybe not. But they're all useful in a way, and that's great. So that's a great little addition. Also, just to make things not more complicated, but upgrading your actions, right? That's always lovely. You can, otherwise you're just gonna go through doing the same thing all over. But now you get that one, and this action just became different and better. Ooh, interesting. So a lovely addition with the tools. The canteens also work really great. You fill up this thing with abilities, and then when you put water into it, you get to use those abilities. This can be used for great effect, or not. For example, when you fill out, you can have 2 on either side at the same time. Awesome. And if you get it built up correctly, like I actually sort of managed to do, would get 2 sun tokens and a change 1 token to wild. So that's great, because I get a sun and a wild, because just change that one to wild. And we had other people who like 2 water, and then I can use one of those water to activate my next canteens, which is wooden mountain, whatever. Right, these combos that you can absolutely create with these canteens. There is some luck in it, because a lot of the time you draw it up and it's just like, I don't really need that, that wouldn't work. But you can definitely create something really cool through these canteens and make, you know, 1 action become 3 actions and really score some points. What I don't overly like about it is that one of the canteens can be a park symbol, which means you can either reserve or visit a park. I don't overly enjoy that, because it's basically, I get a water, great, now I get to visit this park. I think that's a little bit too strong for the canteens, maybe just a little bit. But other than that, I think the canteens are a great thing. And then of course you have just visiting to the parks. The resource you spend is a little bit abstract, you know, because in reality what you would do is you would bring some food and some water, some tenting equipment, and then you would visit the parks. When this one you bring a mountain and trees, and so it's a bit abstract what you bring to visit the parks, but it works great to visit these parks. Still amazing artwork. I believe one of the reasons I did the 2nd edition is because they lost the right to the artwork in the first one, or not lost, just didn't buy more. But then they made some more new artwork for this one, and it still looks amazing, has some fun facts about the parks. It's really great. What I love that they bring in here, now a little comparison comes. The expansions for the regular parks brings in, when you visit a park, you also get something, like it's an immediate action. This one has that in some parks from the get-go, and that's a really great thing. I think it's one of the best things from the expansions to parks. It's great that they bring it in to the base game here. You of course have the tents, which is basically just making some actions better by having you do more stuff. And it's fine. What I like about them is that you constantly exchange something for something else. Like that's what you have. You put the tent over here and you exchange this to this. That's most of them are like that. But that's great. I think that's good. Like it means that the action just becomes incredibly strong, and it's like it's a crazy advantage. Just rush over there. It can be, but by always exchanging, you always have to make the choice of like, do I want to visit there and then switch this to this, because can that be strong? And usually it is better to switch, but maybe not for what you're trying to do. Maybe you have this reserved park and it needs a bunch of wood. So exchanging some wood for something else that might not be ideal, but that something else could be a great gear card that really helps you. So yeah, it's a fine addition. Don't play with it all the time probably, but it's a good addition with these tents. Better than what I thought Nightfall did for the regular parks, that expansion. That's where it's from originally. In here I think it works better. So again, not to compare constantly, I'm doing a comparison. And last little bit to specifically talk about is probably the passion cards, where you have to achieve something and then you get either a gear upgrade or a in-game scoring. And those also work pretty great. I think they're better than the individual scores in the first packs, because there seems to be equally difficult / easy to achieve, and they give sort of the same. The original ones, you could really score a lot of points through those, not really matching up with others. So I think this is a good way to do it. Last bit of comparison. So let's talk about components for this one. The components are still amazing. Man, really Keystone, really take it. It's Keystone, Keymaster, that's what they're called. Goddammit, really take it out of the way with these these little holders here with the wooden artifacts, and the wild tokens are a bunch of animals that are cut out. Amazing components here. It was like this in first edition as well. They're just amazing components. The pictures that are over here, they also look great. I mean, artwork, I always talk about that sort of as a part of the components, and for this one, it really is one of the things that makes it come alive. Like when I open the box, this is what greets me right away. What a beautiful artwork, piece of artwork here. And all the parks just look amazing. All the components are great. They use quite a bit more cardboard in this one, but it works fine for the pieces where it is. It's nice, decently thick cardboard, and it doesn't feel cheap, although it is not an expensive game. So component-wise, this is just amazing. Just like with the first packs, just, yeah. The theming of it. So as I said, when visiting the actual parks, what you pay to visit them is sort of very abstract. Sure, it's nature, it's what you would probably expect to see at those parks. So some woods in this one, or mountains for this one. But it's still quite abstract, and also like the bonus you get if you have an immediate bonus is also, so if you visit this one you get a canteen, if you visit this one you get the shutterbuck. Maybe it makes sense, maybe it's like, oh, here you drink a lot of water, here is the best picture opportunities. But it's quite abstract in that sense. So gameplay wise, I don't think the theming is perfectly like integrated into it. You're walking across this trail and visiting a whole bunch of parks. Like one turn I could visit a park down in California, the next one I would visit one in one of the states that are on East New York. I don't think there's anyone in New York. Yellowstone is around California, I believe, but then, yeah, no, but it's like, you know, you aren't going to, if you're going to go through the national park of the USA, you're not going to go, you're going to go in a line, right? If you have any kind of brain, at least. So thematically there, it doesn't really tie in. But the question is, if this theme was anything else. If I was moving this through this thing and the goal was to build a bunch of spaceships, would it be as good? No. Quite simple. There are these few things as the canteen, and you fill it up. You always need water when you're going on hikes. The tenting is like you stay overnight, so they have a really lovely thing in the rulebook where it's like, first time you should go on only daily hikes. When you're getting a little bit better, maybe try and stay in the wilderness. So I think that's a very great way to put it into the context of the game. Thumbs out on that one. Of course, the gear as well. Once you become more just to the hiking, you get more stuff that really makes it easier for you to go around. So I think it has these things that nudge towards the theme, and I just think if it was any other theme, I don't think I would love it as much. I really think the theming is important. The theming on the cards is important. The components are important that they are looking like this. And all of that looks like it does because of the theme. So I think it's very important, although gameplay-wise it isn't really there. So yeah, anyways, does it lie to you? 1 to 5 players, 40 to 70 minutes, ages 10 and up. So yeah, I mean 1 to 5 I don't play it solo, as always. Yeah, 2 to 5 is a good game. It always is fine at all player count. At all these player counts, it's probably one of those I prefer 3 or 4. 2 and 5 is like the extremes. Still works really great there, but I would prefer that 3 or 4. 40 to 70 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I would doubt going down to 40. That seems very low. I would always say you are going to spend about an hour plus minus 15 minutes playing this game. More plus. An hour and 15 is more. It's more plus on that one. But it will, when you get to know the game and stuff, the gameplay of it will take an hour plus 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So yeah, fairly accurate, just going fairly low. And ages 10 and up. Maybe. I think there are a few things, and you don't play at the campsite, but I think there's a few things in here that complicates it in and makes it difficult for that lower age. But maybe it's always the age one that messes me up. Don't know why it always does it. So, what will my final score for this great package be? Well, the original Parks is a 9 out of 10, and not to spoil the Tabletop comparison video on Wednesday, I'm giving this one a 10. Yeah. For the question, am I keeping it? Watch the Tabletop comparison on Wednesday. I have some things to talk about for that one. But yeah, I'm giving this one a 10 out of 10. I really think this is an amazing game, a great game. I love it. Love it to bits. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.